Hi, so today I'm going to do a collective energy reading just to sort of take the temperature on what is going on in the world, in our lives, and get some guidance from our guides. So, guides, what would you like to share with us about the collective energy at the moment on planet Earth? There are big seeds of change being sowed. There are new paradigms coming into effect, creating a very many good things that will be transforming your reality. Okay, great things are coming, and I can see that they're trying to say that it might not feel like it. In fact, if you look around you and you even talk to people around you, the general feedback will be that things are not okay and that life is pretty stagnant or in decline. But they're saying that's actually not the case. And in the invisible, or just the general movement of energy on planet Earth is towards a much more positive reality, even if we can't see it. Very positive. They're showing me like the tipping of the balance of scales. If you imagine positive, negative, it's almost like the positive's been down and the negative's been high, but or maybe the other way around. It's been more weighted in the negative than the positive, but now the balance is shifting, and the positive is there's at a tipping point. So the positive is becoming more positive than negative. Talk to us about how things will look in a few months' time. Okay, so how will they look, guides? Unbelievably different. In some ways, unrecognizable. What sorts of things will be unbelievably different? Wow. Okay, so they're talking about we're going to start to find cures for disease. It's almost like they're showing me kind of like an explosion of innovation or an explosion of technological advancement, of evolution of intelligence. Now, is this to do with AI, the development of AI? Yes. So the development of AI is going to literally sort of leap us forward in terms of evolution of our technology and our understanding of disease. So you're saying that we're going to start to be able to resolve some of the problems that we've been dealing with long term. Yes, okay. And they're basically saying that this will lead to cooperation between countries. So let's say one country over here creates, using AI for the sake of argument, some kind of leap forward in cure for some kind of disease, then there will be cooperation with other governments to share that knowledge. You might think that having sort of that kind of elevated sort of new knowledge might create sort of closing it off from everybody else, but actually they're showing me a definite move towards collaboration and cooperation. And they're saying very joyful outcomes for people that had lost hope. So this is quite huge. They're really sort of saying that advancements that we maybe had only hoped we would make within a decade had kind of like been fast tracked. The future is brighter sooner. Nice. Okay, guys, is there anything else you'd like to say on that particular topic? Start trusting that you're in the right place at the right time. There's more progress taking place in your lifetime than in millennia before you. So in this sort of contracted short space of time that we're here, we're achieving more progress as a race, as a human race on this planet, than our human race has achieved in, over 1,000 years. They're saying use this time to focus on communities. So whether that's creating communities or being part of a community, because they're saying with this technological advancement, with suddenly everything sort of speeding up in terms of what we're capable of doing as humans, there'll be a tendency to get lost in technology and communication through devices, as opposed to, which we're already, I suppose, in that space. But they're definitely saying it's time to come back together again in communities. They're sort of showing me kind of like villages of old, where you had a butcher and a baker and everyone knew everybody else in the village and everyone supported everybody else. And if there was an emergency, then everyone would come together and solve it. So they're talking about the importance of community. And I suppose that could be online communities, but I think it's more of a focus on meeting face to face. So people in your vicinity, your street, in your building. Okay. So future will be more local than global. So small communities taking care of each other. Okay, so they're saying there'll be less work to do because technology advancements will take a lot of that work out of our hands, but not in a negative way. So, whilst it might feel like, say, some jobs become obsolete because of technology, there will arise new types of work within communities that will be relied upon heavily. So, let's just clarify exactly what you mean by that. Okay, so it's basically saying that a lot of tasks that we would normally require to be present for as a person in front of a computer, say, will be automated. But the focus is going to change so that if all of those jobs are kind of done for us, we don't need to do them ourselves, then people's focus is going to start moving towards, well, what can I bring? What can I bring to the world that is going to actually make a difference? And what gifts have I got personally that I can sort of put into the mix or put into the pool of the community to help, to contribute? So it's about contribution, what your role is in contributing to your community, and what innate gifts and talents do you have that are perfectly placed to support your community. I keep getting pictures of food growing, food production, and the focus shifting from, well, look, if I've got less time that I need to spend doing work because that's all being done for me. And by the way, that's not just, they're saying that's not just, your job's going to be done for you, so you're going to be made redundant. It's more the tasks that take up so much time, your productivity levels are going to go up. Okay. So tasks that would take you a long time are now being automated or will become automated, freeing up more time up here for you to think about your contribution to society, your contribution to your community. And in doing so, I think people are going to start questioning even more than they already are about where our food is coming from, how it's produced, how pure our food sources are, how people are going to value food that has been less manufactured and touched less processes. So less processed food is going to be valued much higher, but also food grown locally is going to be valued much higher. Okay, so they're kind of showing that as technology is advancing in one direction, our ability to live in a community is advancing, or almost feels like it's going backwards. So when I was talking about putting your innate talents forward and the value on local produce and locally produced food that hasn't been played with or doctored with or had additives added to it, that kind of thing. So you're going to see things like someone who maybe was consumed by their job now working fewer hours, enabling them to say, they love baking, enabling them to start producing bread and baked goods for their community, not necessarily to sell online or to build a business out of, but to be the person in the community that provides bread. And then you might have somebody else who is creating, let's see, I feel like they want to tell me exactly what. Okay, so entertainment as well. They're sort of saying friendships coming together, friends coming together in a community, bringing talents like playing instruments, singing, etc., entertaining the community from within the community rather than looking outside for entertainment, rather than switching on the TV or scrolling your phone. There's just going to be a much more sort of inward looking process in terms of just generally how we live and interact with the world. And inward, as in inward inside our communities, rather than outside of our communities, watching influencers on the other side of the world telling us about how we should live. It will very much start to become a kind of beautiful almost island of people in your community where you will support each other in these very specific and talented ways that you can all contribute to create something really quite magical within your community. And everyone will feel like, it's like you're supported. I've got you, is that feeling. They keep saying, I've got you. You feel like the people around you have got your back, as opposed to leaving your house, not saying hi to your neighbours, getting on with your day in your own bubble, coming back to your house, shutting the door. It's not that. It's definitely not that. It's more open. I can see people coming in and out of each other's houses, sharing food, sharing space, sharing gardens. There's a sharing vibe. It's so nice. It's quite a big shift. And I think what they're saying is that in the next month or so, we're just going to start feeling a hint of that. I don't think we're going to tip into that so quickly, but we're just going to start to feel that starting to arise around us. Yeah, they're just repeating again that the time has come for us all to use our gifts. So we've all got gifts, whether that's being able to organize things, whether it's being able to manage a process, whether it's, whatever it might be. It could be music, it could be cooking, it could be growing, it could be gardening, it could be understanding the weather. God knows, it just could be absolutely anything. But it's something that when everybody, imagine a community of, let's say, 1,000 people. It's a small community, but 1,000 people, and each individual, as individual as we all are, has got their own gifts, their own passions, their own gifts. If everyone, can you imagine this? It just blows your mind a bit. But can you imagine if everybody only focused on their innate gifts and passions? Imagine if work was kind of taken care of, and we'd be able to support ourselves with the sort of DIY automated technology that's doing the job for us. Imagine if that freed us all up to be able to only focus on the things that brought us joy. I mean, it beggars belief, really, because it's a world that we've never known. But they're kind of saying that, can you imagine that sort of melting pot of joyful activity that would create? And they're saying that we're going to start to get a taste of what that is like. Just little hints and tastes of that are coming. And that will grow in momentum. They're actually saying, don't wait. They're saying, don't wait until, the world has moved on to the point where it's freed up your time. They're saying, start now. Start focusing on the things that you're really good at and the things that bring you joy, and where those two things come together. Okay. So just start putting them into the world, whether that's at the weekends or in the evenings after you come home from work or school or whatever. But just start building your hobbies and giving them more attention than you currently would, because they're saying that it's those skills, hobbies, talents, gifts that are literally the future of humanity. We're going to be living very differently, and those are the things that we will fall back on, rather than years and years of education that we've kind of built up in order to be able to work jobs, which are now going to become more and more automated. So it's almost like constructed self, with everything we've learned and been told to learn, and the job cycle that we've been put into, is going to start to mean less, and that our true selves, and the kind of, if you deconstructed everything you know about yourself today based on the life you've had to live so far, if you took all of that off, what you find in the core is your natural joyful passion for X, Y, and Z. And it's that is going to start building a new world, essentially. I mean, it's a big topic. They don't mess about, the guides, I tell you. They get straight in there with the big stuff. I'm saying, if there's anything you've always fancied doing, or but always felt it was out of your reach, or too big to organise, or too expensive, or insert your obstacle here. If there's anything like that in your life that you've always put off, they're saying why not do it on some sort of trial basis? As in, play a game with yourself to say, well, I'll just put 2 weeks of energy into it and see where it goes. They just want you to trial it. You know, if there's a group you wanted to create for some kind of activity that you loved doing but always felt like it was too much, put it out there as like a pop-up trial event. Just start small. They're saying start small and just kind of dip your toe into what it might be like. So, if baking, let's go back to the baking analogy. If baking is your thing, instead of baking cakes to sell, perhaps bake bread to share at a reduced fee or just to cover your costs. Or they're looking at ways you can contribute and give back. Now is the time to start those things, even if you felt in a place of lack, even if you felt in a place of survival and you felt like you've got nothing to give out there because you don't have enough for yourself. They're saying find something that you can give that doesn't cost you anything if you don't have the money to provide something physical. Do something with your gift now. Don't wait. Guides, anything else to add to this incredible sharing that you've already done today? We're talking about how we've been very divided. We're talking about how politics has divided us, how the economy has divided us, how education has divided us and made us all operate on a very individual basis. And now we're going to start seeing a shift to togetherness. There's just big, bold letters, togetherness. They're showing me it's going to be about togetherness, and we're going to be relying on each other, and we're going to start building trust with people around us in ways that we've never done before. Yeah. Saying you're really sure this is a future you can embrace and want to live into. There's no kind of hopelessness, despair, frustration, exhaustion, tiredness, survival, all of those feelings that modern life has kind of imposed on us all. That's just definitely not the vibe of this new reality or way of living that is coming forward. It's definitely more about harmony, togetherness, joy. It's almost like, that sort of sense of like it's the time of harvest. It's like when you reap all the benefits of everything around you. It's almost like constantly going to feel like that, because when you've got, say, let's go back to the imaginary community of 1,000 people, and you've got 1,000 people all contributing to that group of 1,000 people. I mean, that's an abundance of skills, an abundance of entertainment, an abundance of fun, an abundance of food, an abundance of joy, of friendship, of connection, relationships, community, togetherness. Boom. I mean, what they're showing me is actually quite magical and amazing. So yeah, that's what we've got to look forward to. So fill your boots. And they're also showing me that no one will ever feel loneliness. The elderly will not feel lonely. The elderly will not feel forgotten. Children will feel connected, but in a way that is real and authentic, as opposed to via a screen or a tablet. Children will feel more connected to the earth. Children will feel more connected to where their food comes from. So in some ways, we're going backwards to the ways of old, when in a village people would farm, or even families would farm their own food and keep their own animals and that kind of thing. But it's not that sort of small a situation. We're just talking about a community that does that for itself. So a small town or a small village will just become able to support itself without the need for products shipped in from around the world on massive container ships. Like, it's just, none of that will be necessary. We'll be fully satisfied and fulfilled with that life without the need to, there won't be any shoulds, like I need to be. So it feels as though all of the shoulds that we currently live by, I should or I must work, I should earn this much money, I should look a certain way, My children should only have a certain amount of screen time. We must go to bed at this time in order to be healthy. We must eat certain macros in order to be healthy. We must go to sleep, wake up, work, drive the right kind of car, use the right kind of fuel. All of these things that constantly whir around our heads because it's the way we're supposed to live will just go out of the window, and all we'll be caring about is everyone around us okay? Does anyone need anything? What can I offer my community? So I think I'll leave it there. That's quite an intense vision, a beautiful one, and it's a real message of hope. I think it feels hopeful, and it feels beautiful, and it feels different to how the current vibe is around us, I would say. So thank you for listening. If you've enjoyed this collective energy update, then please do subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back here in a month to do the next one.